Alright, so what's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now just yesterday we got the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer trailer come out, and I've got to say it is a really good trailer, although they didn't really show anything like sort of new. It's just sort of a marketing thing. I mean, I suppose you could go through and look at all the different guns and skins and characters and all that stuff that is in the game, but everything that's important we already knew about, like the 16 maps, some of the weapons at least, like things like slide cancelling, red dots on the minimap. That stuff is showcased in the trailer, but we already knew about it. But I have to say, it is a really good trailer. If there's one thing that Call of Duty does consistently well, is that the trailers are always really good. And in this one specifically, they use Till I Collapse by Eminem, which is one of my favourite songs of all time. They also use this song in the original Modern Warfare 2 for one of the trailers leading up to the launch of the game, which I think, in my opinion, just shows even more how this game is what Modern Warfare 2 should have been, and I think they sort of played into that as well by using that song. But then again, you could say it's more fitting here because we're getting the original Modern Warfare 2 maps remade again, and they're being showcased in this trailer, so it's more fitting to use that song in this trailer as opposed to a Modern Warfare 2. I don't know, it's weird, but I mean, like I say, it's a really good trailer. There's not really too much to talk about, really, other than it looks really good. Like I say, this game is pretty much going to be what Modern Warfare 2 should have been, with all that feedback and stuff being given back to Infinity Ward, and I'm looking forward to it. I said in my last Modern Warfare 2 video that I'm not really overly excited for Modern Warfare 3 anymore. I'd sort of lost the hype because they haven't really done any marketing or anything. It kind of went silent. Fuck are you doing back here, you little rat boy? And like I was saying as well, this game, we already know what we're gonna get. Like, we've pretty much had all the important information given to us, and we've been playing what the game is gonna be for the past like year now. Well, realistically, we're playing a worse version of Modern Warfare 3 right now. We know it's gonna feel pretty much the exact same apart from like balance changes. So I mean, that's sort of a law of the Call of Duty games, where although yeah, they are very similar every year, it's still sort of like, you know, how's it gonna feel, how's it gonna play, you know, it's still a brand new experience every year. But this is, I think, the first time in Call of Duty like history that it really isn't. Like, it's basically FIFA now, Call of Duty. It's quite funny. I just fucking killed myself. Oh my god. The amount of times I do that on shipment where I call in a cluster strike and just run into it. I'm still sort of in a similar boat where I'm like, I'm looking forward to the game now, especially with COD Next, I think tomorrow now. And we've also got, well, yeah, COD Next tomorrow, then the beta starts for PlayStation the following day. So I definitely am looking forward to getting my hands on the beta, and I'm also looking forward to the launch so I can camo grind and stuff. But I can't say that I'm as hyped for this game as I was for Modern Warfare 2, which is a real betrayal in my opinion, because I was so excited for Modern Warfare 2 to come out, and they really fucked that one, I can't lie. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy Modern Warfare 2. I have definitely enjoyed its life cycle. It's one of the better life cycles in my opinion, especially because me and my friends at the start would like no-life the game like for a long time. For me, it's more so about like the experiences and the memories that I've had with this game, and to be honest, I've made some good ones this year, so that's why, you know, I actually enjoy this game more than others. But I can see why people say it's kind of a shit game or whatever. It definitely let down a lot of people, including me. But for me, it was definitely the launch of Modern Warfare 2 that was the best. I mean, the launch period of grinding for the camos and the ranked mode coming out and all that stuff was so exciting. But I think after sort of season 2, halfway through season 2, maybe like season 3 as well, it just fell off so hard. Like, it was ridiculous how hard it fell. And I know season 1 to 3 weren't particularly the best. I know definitely season 1 and 2 as well, like the multiplayer content was light those seasons, but I still had a lot of fun. I was still enjoying the game quite a lot then, and it didn't really get until season 3, season 4 where I didn't really enjoy the game anymore. But unlike Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer actually listened to the community, and they'll actually be willing to implement stuff that we want them to, which I think is really good. Infinity Ward just cannot be trusted with COD anymore. I like what they've done with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 2019 as well, but the fact is that their vision is flawed and they're unwilling to ever change it, which really pisses me off. Like, their vision for what a Call of Duty game should be is just wrong in my opinion, and they will not move on that. They will not budge, and it's annoying because the Modern Warfare name sells, so they don't need to change. Like, they still do really well every year. I've got hot chocolate. I'm actually enjoying it. First time I've made hot chocolate in like years. I can't lie, but I actually love it, especially in winter time. I know I say winter time, but it's October in England. It basically is turning into winter now. Yeah, I don't really think there's much else to talk about with Modern Warfare 3. I mean, I'm looking forward to the game. We've obviously had the trailer, which was a good trailer, but there isn't really a lot of other information. Oh, actually, no, I've just remembered there was the aftermarket part thing. Yeah, whatever. So I think it was the day before the multiplayer trailer came out for Modern Warfare 3. They had this sort of intel drop, which is for aftermarket parts. And this is basically a new way of customizing guns in Modern Warfare 3. I think the best way I'd describe it is that it's sort of like the receiver system from Modern Warfare 2, but instead of it being sort of like official conversions, let's say, it's stuff that is basically just off the rails, just batshit crazy. Like, for example, I think one of the ones they showed off was a Renetti aftermarket part, and it basically turned it into an SMG. Like, it was this entire thing which you put on top of the gun. It turned into like a fully automatic SMG with a stock, and it was crazy. The idea of the aftermarket part is that it's basically 3D printed things for the guns that turn it into something completely different. And like I say, it's sort of similar to the receiver system. So let's say, for example, with the Kastov, you can have a 7.62, you know, normal assault rifle or an SMG or a shotgun. It's a similar concept, but instead of just changing the class of weapon, I don't know if actually, like, if they still have receivers or not, but instead of changing the class of weapon or just changing it a little bit, it basically just changes the entire thing completely. Like, there's another one which is for an SMG where I think it puts a stock on the gun, but it also adds a kimbo to the gun as well. And the way you unlock these is you get to max level, then you complete a challenge. There's this one where people are talking about where it's like a weekly, like, seasonal challenge or something, and people are sort of worried that it's going to be a limited time thing, but I don't really care. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. But I mean, it looks like an interesting feature, this aftermarket part. It just looks like an evolution of the receiver system where it's just sort of allows for a bit more freedom. Like, they can just sort of do what they want and say, oh, it's just a 3D printed part. Like, yeah, you wouldn't have the gun in real life because it's aftermarket sort of thing. I think it's just a way to sort of shut up the realism buffs where, like, they've gone, instead of just adding whatever they want to the gun, they have to make it sort of like white, transparent, and then say that it's aftermarket 3D printed thing. So basically they're gonna get roast on Twitter. Oh, sorry, X. It's called X now for some fucking reason. Funny, I don't think I know a single person on this earth who actually refers to it now as X instead of Twitter. I mean, if you say, oh, did you see what that guy X'd on X? People are gonna look at you like you're a fucking psycho. Like, what is the new version of a tweet? Because it's not Twitter anymore. So what is it? Do you make an X? Is it just a post? Is it a message? Do they have like a special name for it? I don't understand. Also, apparently the 725 is broken now in the game. I don't know what they've done to like change it all of a sudden, but I've just seen loads of people complain online about the 725, and I've also noticed in the kill feed as well that every so often it's just riddled with shotguns. That's another thing I really hate about this game as well, is the amount of shotgun spam, especially in shipments. I mean, yeah, I know shotguns are sort of to be expected in shipment, but in this game, they would rather just buff them than actually, like, you know, balance them properly. Damn, this is a really good hot chocolate. Fucking hell. I'm usually a tea man, especially at home, but this hot chocolate's not. It's only the, like, powdered stuff that you put in, but it actually tastes good. Yeah, there's not really much else to talk about in terms of new information. The only thing we can really do now is wait for COD Next and the beta so we can play the game ourselves. I'm interested to see what they're going to talk about in COD Next. So I think they're going to talk about multiplayer. They're probably going to talk about some stuff that we haven't seen yet. Probably some of the smaller features, maybe the UI, that kind of stuff. The campaign, that I don't really think they're going to talk much about because, you know, it's sort of a story thing. They don't really want to reveal the story, and we already know about the open combat missions and all the other stuff like that. I reckon they're probably going to show off zombies the most. Either multiplayer or zombies is going to be like the focal point, and I reckon Warzone as well. They're probably going to talk about, you know, not Warzone 2. It's Warzone now because they killed the original one. But I've got a prediction that I feel like with Warzone, they're going to say that they're changing Warzone gameplay to be like Modern Warfare 3 gameplay. So instead of having the movement, the mechanics and stuff of Modern Warfare 2, it's going to have the Modern Warfare 3 mechanics. So if they do that, I think it actually might breathe some fresh air into Warzone, but at the same time, I feel like the damage is already done. I feel like they could do that and say they're bringing back Verdansk, and it still would never reach the popularity. Even Warzone 2 did. I mean, Warzone 1 is just unrivaled in popularity, but I don't think they could bring back a lot of Warzone 2 players either. I actually find it so funny how Activision had a gold mine. They had their chicken who laid golden eggs, and they fucked it. I don't know how they did, but they fucked it. And I think the other thing they're going to talk about is probably Warzone Mobile. I don't really think there's going to be anything else they can talk about. I don't really think there's anything else. Campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone Mobile. They talked about they're not featuring DMZ as well. They released like a DMZ community update. They said they're still going to support it, but they're not going to talk about it in in COD Next, which I found really weird. Like, I feel like you could at least just drop the message in COD Next and say, oh, we're still going to support the game, don't worry. But this way, it feels even worse. Like, it feels like they're just brushing the DMZ players off even more by just saying, yeah, you're not featured, but don't worry, we'll still support you. I mean, I don't play DMZ, I don't really care very much, but yeah, I still feel for the DMZ players. They've got this new game mode which they really enjoy, and then Activision don't care because they don't make enough money off of them. It's whatever. But anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video. Either tomorrow or the day after, I'll have my COD Next video. Then the day after that, probably, or a couple days later, I'll have my MWII 3 initial review video. And then after that, I'll probably just play some Mortal Kombat till the Xbox beta comes out, because although, yeah, I'd love to play on PlayStation a load, it's not my preferred console. Like, I'll play a bit of it, but especially with the controller as well, like, I can't get used to the PlayStation controller and play COD on it like I can an Xbox controller. Like, it's weird, man. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.